So Jordan, it's the end of the day. Did we forget to shoot our hilarious cold open at the start of the video?
Damn it!
Yeah. Hey DPReview TV viewers, Chris Nichols here. We've got a very interesting lens today. We're looking at the Panasonic S-Series 20-60 for their full frame L mount. Now this is interesting for a couple of reasons. First off, it's lightweight and affordable, but it's also a 20-60. It's like a kit lens that goes ultra wide. Very cool, we're gonna play with it today. Now the first thing you notice about the 20-60 zoom is just how small it is, especially when you consider the other L-mount zooms in the lineup. And it's also very lightweight and compact. You're looking at 350 grams, which is like 0.00013 pounds or something like that. 67 mil filter thread, that's not too big as well, and yet it is still dust and splash resistant. I do want to mention right off the bat, this lens hasn't started shipping yet. This is still officially a pre-production lens, although we have been told it is very close to final. Now, because of the 20mm on this lens, I think people will naturally gravitate towards this as a landscape lens. And in that regard, you want to worry about things like flare and ghosting, sun stars when you're shooting on sunny days. Now, it's good and bad. Flare seems very, very well controlled, but the ghosting is, I don't know, I'll say dynamic. I mean, it's got some interesting shapes to it, weird patterns. You might find it intensely distracting in certain shots. When it came to sun stars, we weren't expecting much here with a variable aperture zoom, and unfortunately, yeah, they're not great, fairly mushy and bright all over, not getting sort of clean, distinct lines. Jordan, Friendship Park, that's us, right? Let's shoot here. You. We have some decent optical characteristics on this 20-60 zoom. First off, chromatic aberration and longitudinal chromatic aberration don't seem to really be an issue, which is nice. When it comes to bokeh, I was actually quite surprised. You can see here, whether we shoot wide open or even stop down, the bokeh still seems nice and round. When it comes to corners, we're not getting any cat's eye effect. Very nice rendering of the background. Fantastic for a lens at this price point. Now, if there was some sort of compromise to the fact that this is a very low price lens, it would have to be the overall sharpness. Now look, this lens is not soft, it's fine. You know, we're testing it on an S1R today, and that 48 megapixel sensor is really gonna push lenses to the limit. And I feel like the resolution that this lens delivered would be better suited on a lower resolution camera, like an S1 at 24 megapixels, for example. The general characteristic that we're finding is that this lens does need to be stopped down in order to hone that sharpness. So, you know, we're shooting a lot of examples wide open, but then we're going to f8, and we are seeing a noticeable improvement in quality. Corners as well seem to sharpen up quite nicely. Overall, the lens is, I would say, a little bit better at the wider option than it is at the telephoto option, which should please the landscape photographers. And if you are doing shots like we're doing today in mountains and you're shooting f8 or f11 anyways, this lens should give you good results.
Jordan here to talk to my video people about the 20-60 lens, and it's honestly a pretty great little video lens. It's got a very quiet focus motor in it. It's a stepless aperture, so you're not going to notice big chunky steps in your exposure. As well, it's almost completely breathing corrected, so if you're pulling focus, you won't notice your frame changing at all. Honestly, the only real strikes against this as a video lens is obviously it's not a constant aperture. You will see some exposure change as you zoom if you're wide open, and there's no mechanical focus clutch on it. But for the price and the size, good video lens.
So we had a fun day. It was a long day, but it was a fun day. And I enjoyed using the 20-60 a lot. I was shooting actually both ends of the spectrum, lots at 20, lots at 60, and having a great time. And I enjoyed having that extra wide angle coverage when you needed it. And it seems like Panasonic's really the only company making these interesting zooms that give you an ultra wide range, but don't sacrifice too much on the telephoto. I mean, Jordan on Micro Four Thirds really loves the 10-25, which becomes a 20-50. You know, considering the lower price point, if you're able to live with the floating aperture, I could absolutely see somebody using this as a general purpose, you know, kit lens, especially if they have more of an inkling towards landscape more often than, say, portraits, for example. And you know, for the price point, this lens is delivering interesting results. Maybe it's not best suited for these high resolution sensors, but I'd happily use it on something like a Panasonic S1. It doesn't have any image stabilization built into the lens. That's to be expected. So again, on the S1 bodies or the SL2 body, the IBIS is going to help you out. Now, it kind of makes us think, though, what camera is this lens really designed for? I mean, it's very light, it's very compact. I think most people spending the big bucks on the S1 series might just get the more expensive lenses. We could absolutely see an affordable, compact, lightweight, full-frame body coming out from Panasonic to fit this lens. In fact, this would make a hell of a kit lens for such a body. And the only question that I really have is if that camera body does come out as a lower-priced, more affordable compact camera and doesn't have IBIS, then that might be an issue using this lens. But it's a very interesting entry. Please check out our sample gallery on DPReview.com to see the photos we took today. Go to Instagram and Twitter, and please follow us. Subscribe to the channel. Thanks so much for joining us out here in the mountains. See you soon.